She was supposed to be a joke, you know? Just two poor twin girls shoved onto a stage, their sneakers too big, their voices too small, and the whole school buzzing for a laugh. Nobody thought they'd steal the show or turn my quiet life upside down. But the truth is, when they opened their mouths, something happened that changed everything. So, let me take you back to that Nebraska winter, a time when the roads were cracked and white, and the only thing colder than the wind was the silence that had settled in my home. Snow came early that year-be November. The trees stood naked against the sky, branches like bony fingers begging for spring. I was driving my old Ford, knuckles tight on the wheel, the heater coughing warm air in sputters that barely kept up with the storm. I made this trip from a lumberyard to my place 1,000 times, but that day, the air felt heavy, like the world itself was holding its breath. Rounding the bend by the old rail yard, I spotted something strange, a rusted shipping container with its doors swinging in the wind, half open, half inviting, like some secret daring you to peek inside. I almost passed it by, but then I saw Ida's frantic little hand slapping the metal. Instinct took over. I slammed the brakes, boots crunching through snow as I rushed across the yard. The wind cut through me, but I barely noticed. Inside, I found two girls, twins, not a day older than 10, cheeks raw from the cold, eyes defiant but scared. One clutched a paper snowflake, the other just looked at me and whispered, "Please don't tell them we hid here." I didn't ask questions. I just wrapped my coat around them and said, "Let's get you warm." They hesitated. "Are you going to call someone?" one asked. "Maybe," I told her, honest, "but right now, I'm saving your lives." Back at my cabin, the wood stove roared and cocoa steamed in chipped mugs. "What are your names?" I asked. The braver one piped up, "Junie." "She's Lyra. We're 9 3/4. The math made me smile. Kids never forget a fraction. "Where's your mom?" I asked softly. "Juin Luca Hawaii." She left. Aunt Carla's supposed to take care of us, but she said if we cried again, she'd leave us in the woods. I felt my chest tighten. I'd heard stories like this before, and too many ended in headlines. I excused myself and knocked gently on a bedroom door. "Maisie, you okay in there?" No answer. There never was. My daughter hadn't spoken since she fainted on stage 2 years ago. Selective mutism, the doctor called it trauma, with no roadmap back. I hoped, maybe foolishly, that bringing these girls in for a night might break something loose in Maisie. Back in the living room, Lyra hummed to herself, her voice soft but oddly comforting. Junie joined in, their imperfect harmony weaving through the room. Down the hall, I heard a door creak. Maisie appeared, barefoot, in her flannel, watching the twins with wide, careful eyes. She didn't say a word, but she didn't leave either. She leaned against the doorframe, like someone remembering a song they'd forgotten how to sing. "You can sit with us," Junie offered. Maisie just nodded, and for the first time in a long while, she stayed. That night, after the twins drifted off on the couch, I sat alone in the kitchen, coffee gone cold. On the shelf sat an old recording box. Inside it, tapes of Maisie and her mother singing before cancer stole her away. I hadn't touched those tapes in years. But something about those girls, their bare harmonies, it reminded me of what music used to mean before silence settled over us like dust. So I opened the box, just to see if maybe some small miracle was still possible. Morning broke with gray light and quiet. The girls woke slow, giggling over burnt toast, and saving Maisie the only red plate in the house, the one without any chips. She took it, hands trembling but steady, and sat with us. 3 girls at one table, no words needed. The laughter, the belonging, it made the house feel alive. School was closed, snow kept falling, and for the first time in years, it wasn't just me and my broken heart echoing in those walls. Days passed in a rhythm of oatmeal, sledding, board games, and music. Each night, as the fire burned low, the girls sang together, voices growing stronger, harmonies tightening. And Maisie only night she hummed along, just a note but enough to stop me in my tracks. I didn't rush her, just listened. "You don't have to be afraid of your voice," I told her. "Not here." She looked at me, eyes clear, and whispered, "I forgot I could." Healing is never a straight line, But in that moment, something shifted. Soon, they wanted to sing for the world well, for the school talent show anyway. I worried. Kids can be cruel, especially when they don't understand what's beautiful. But Junie just grinned. Maybe it's time they learned. So we signed up, practiced every night, rearranged harmonies when the piano broke, switched to guitar when needed. There were setbacks, notes missed, doubts whispered, but every time, they bounced back. By the end, it wasn't about winning. It was about being heard. The night of the show, the auditorium buzzed, everyone expecting a mess. The three of them walked out, holding hands, heads high. Maisie started, her voice trembling but true. Junie joined, then Lyra, their harmonies building into something that stopped people cold. The last note fell, and for a heartbeat, there was only silence. Then applause, reverent, not wild. Later, a boy who'd once laughed at Maisie offered her a peppermint and an awkward apology. Small gestures, but that's how worlds change. Word spread. The girls were invited to bigger showcases, but then a letter came from a district: no outsiders, no exceptions. The girls weren't eligible because Junie and Lyra weren't officially enrolled. My heart sank, but Maisie just said, "We'll sing anyway." We recorded their song, a song for the silent, and sent it out, even knowing it'd likely be tossed aside. But we kept singing, kept sharing. Soon, strangers wrote to say they'd been moved, healed, made brave by these girls who'd once been invisible. One day, a package Ayurveda song, unfinished, in my late wife's handwriting. Maisie and I worked it out together, turning grief into something warm. Our living room became a studio, the garage a stage. We released our recordings online, not for fame, but for anyone who needed to hear them. The first comments trickled in, then messages from across the country. People listened. People felt seen. The girls kept performing at libraries, shelters, community centers, anywhere their songs could offer hope. At a gala in Lincoln, they sang a piece so raw, the audience wept and stood for them. Maisie, once too scared to speak, now introduced songs herself. Her voice grew stronger every day. On stage, she wasn't broken. She was the bridge between pain and healing, for herself, for others. Eventually, life settled into something like joy. Junie and Lyra started a music channel. Maisie helped kids at camp find their voices, and I built a studio in the shed just for the family. One Sunday, Maisie handed me a letter. "My voice exists because of yours. And that's the voice I'll keep." We sang together that night, just us, no spotlight, no crowd. The last line of my wife's lullaby echoed through the quiet. "Even in the silence, I'll be singing for you." So here's the thing. Sometimes the voices we almost never hear are the ones that stay with us the longest. If this story moved you, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Leave a comment below. Let's talk about what's right, what's broken, and how just maybe music or kindness or just being heard can bring us all home again. If you want more stories like this, quiet miracles and second chances, you know where to find us. Thank you for letting me share this with you. It means more than you know.